Welcome to Mindful Me. I am your host, Dr. Marga, family medicine physician practicing wellness and life coaching. This health and wellness show was born out of the needs I saw as a medical doctor. People are curious and are even demanding information and options on how to get healthier. And more importantly, how do we all improve our quality of life? And quality of life is simply, how do I feel good from moment to moment, minute to minute, hour to hour, day to day? It is my goal to highlight to you, our viewers at home, the knowledge and experience of various experts from both mainstream and complementary disciplines to inspire action in our communities in the areas of self-care and self-development, physically, mentally, and energetically. Today's guest is Dr. Samantha Mekrut. Dr. Sam Mekrut is a board-certified family physician, Menopause Society Certified Practitioner, and the founder of Meristem Family Medicine, a direct primary care practice in Massachusetts. She has spent nearly 2 decades in community and women's health, including leadership roles as medical director at the Edward M. Kennedy Community Health Center in Framingham and Optum Student Health Services. Her work has centered on expanding equitable access to care, developing high-functioning clinical teams, and advancing maternal, child health, obstetrics, and gynecologic care, alongside teaching and mentoring medical students, residents, and advanced practice providers. Today, Dr. Mekrut focuses on innovative relationship-based care through the DPC or direct primary care model, with a particular emphasis on evidence-based primary care, menopause care, and women's midlife health. She's passionate about empowering patients to meet their wellness goals, supporting a healthier and more sustainable healthcare ecosystem, and promoting more joy and fulfillment in clinical practice. Welcome today, Dr. Samantha Mekrut. Samantha, thank you so much for taking the time to pause your day and join us in our show to give the very important information that you have for people who are dealing with the challenges of menopause. I want to know what kind of testimonials or like the more intense challenges that you've seen since you've grown this niche and this community. What have you seen?
Yeah, so firstly, thanks so much for having me on. And so I see a lot of challenges out there with the information surrounding menopause and that transition. So within my own practice, I've started with providing a lot of information. I've gone to some of the local libraries just to give a general talk about menopause and to talk about what does it mean? What are the terms in those conditions that are being thrown around when people talk about menopause? And then what are your options? We talk a lot about menopause hormone therapy. There's also a huge scaffolding of things we can do with our choices every day, with our lifestyles that can really see the way forward to the rest of our lives.
Yes, and I always preach about habits, and I'm sure you've identified maybe 1, 2, or 3 things that keep on coming up when these conversations happen. Could you share with us some of the things you're picking up on?
Yeah, so oftentimes the first thing people come to me for is weight. So weight's a really big one, and then the other one is sleep. Mm-hmm. And so there are a lot of daily small changes that we can make to really maximize sleep, which when we're getting better sleep, oftentimes then weight management becomes a little bit easier.
Yes, and so I guess people are getting educated with you about quality and quantity of sleep. Could you speak to that point?
Yeah, so one of the things I do as a direct primary care doctor, I have extended visit times with my patients. So instead of those 15 minutes or 10 minutes that you typically spend with your doctor or your provider, patients are spending 30 minutes or 60 minutes with me. So we really get into sleep habits. What time is someone going to bed? How often are they waking up? What time do you really have to be up in the morning? And within there, we can usually target what's going on with sleep. Is it trouble falling asleep? Is it trouble staying asleep because you're waking up frequently? And get into some different ideas of lifestyle factors of what could help with that sleep, as well as possibly starting menopause hormone therapy or different medication to help with sleep as well.
It seems like there's a chunk of things even outside of taking supplements or hormone therapy that you are able to cover. What about weight? What are the challenges you're seeing in that area?
Yeah, with weight as well, especially during the menopause transition, there's a lot of changes. During menopause, we have less estrogen in our body, and eventually we're making significantly less than we did during our reproductive ages. And so that has a lot of different effects on weight and on our sleep cycle. When we're not sleeping as well, we're more likely to grab snacks, grab empty calories to try to build up our energy. We also know that there are estrogen receptors all throughout the gut, and that might play a role in the microbiome as well. So there's different reasons for why that transition leads to more weight gain.
I think a microbiome and estrogen receptors are big words for the common layperson. Yeah. Could you expound on what that is? Like expand that impact and idea.
Absolutely. So we think about estrogen as an active hormone in our body. We know that it gives us our periods. We know that it helps with our reproductive cycle, meaning it helps us when we're trying to get pregnant. But that estrogen flows all throughout our body. It goes to our brain, it goes throughout our colon, throughout our gut, and it actually has an influence on the healthy bacteria in our gut. And so we're learning more and more about that.
What are the things that kill good bacteria?
That's a great question. So the things that will kill good, healthy bacteria are antibiotics. When you need to take them, you need to take them, but we certainly want to prevent overuse of antibiotics. Correct. And then what I'd say is we can really support healthy bacteria by eating real foods, so eating foods from that produce aisle, so any fruits, any vegetables, that's going to support our gut health. And then also eating fermented foods. Many cultures naturally do this by eating kimchi, eating yogurt, sauerkraut. All of those things are fermented foods, and they're part of a daily healthy diet.
So I feel like some of those things almost feel not part of regular life unless you intentionally plan for it. Yeah. And so I think having a relationship with an expert like yourself, first of all, creates the accountability. So what are like the top 5 things you've found yourself almost repetitively integrating into like maybe the first or the second visit? Like just enumerate them, doesn't have to be in any particular order. What comes to mind?
Yeah, well, let's start from the beginning. So I would say first with sleep. The first thing is protect your sleep. Maybe in your 20s and your 30s, you could get by with all-nighters or get by with 5 hours of sleep, but really most adults need at least 7 hours of sleep. And there isn't too much of a ceiling on that. Some need 8, some need 9, some need more hours of sleep per night. So it's really understanding how much sleep you need, which again, we want to start with at least getting that solid 7 hours. And that becomes a top priority.
I just want to pause you there before you go into the others. So we meet all walks of life in our practice. Night shift workers are actually quite challenged with this. In fact, I find myself asking, so when are you going to retire? Is one of those funny things. But we'll get to the other items after our break. Thank you.
Welcome to the Needham Channel, where you're a community-based television station that covers all things Needham. We cover sports games, community events, town politics, and more. We also produce shows created by town citizens, so if you have any ideas for a show, we're here to help. We have a live news program every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. on all Needham Channel streams and on our Roku app. Also, be sure to check out Needham Local, our online news source where you can read up on all the latest happenings and headlines around Needham. Visit us at needhamlocal.org and sign up for our newsletter to never miss a breaking story. We're always looking for volunteers who want to learn more about anything television related or gain valuable experience working in a news media environment. To find out more about the Needham Channel, visit needhamchannel.org or email us at info@needhamchannel.org.
Welcome back to Mindful Me. I am welcoming you back with a quote from Voltaire. I have chosen to be happy because it is good for my health. Quite appropriate. So maybe we'll be covering some of that. So Dr. Samantha, you were saying, so we covered sleep and how challenging that is with some of our Western practices, like we have night shift workers. But go ahead. What are the other things that keep coming up?
Yeah, so the next thing I would say that comes up, that always comes up is exercise and physical activity. And I would wanna insist that it's joyful. So I think joyful movement, whether it's taking a walk, dancing, whatever it is that you like to do, is a really important part of your daily activity. And so we talk about how the recommendations are to get 150 minutes of that in a week, but that could be broken down to, is that 5 days a week that you're doing 30 minutes? Like, what are we breaking that down into? But I do think that finding joy, finding that thing that you look forward to, is really important.
Can I confess that I've been looking forward to working out on a treadmill or an elliptical, watching my favorite show?
Yeah. Yes, so that's it. Yeah,
because when I'm there, nobody can, it's blocked off time. Mm-hmm. It's a part of my home where nobody can easily access me.
I think that's such an excellent strategy. So if you have someone who, no matter what, really doesn't find exercise or movement to be something joyful, pair it with a joyful activity. So put on your headphones and listen to your favorite music and then go for that walk.
I believe there is a book about habits and pairing a new habit with one that you particularly enjoy as already established. For example, brushing teeth. And you need to floss. So you floss and brush like sequentially rather than like separating the two. It all makes sense, but some people don't floss.
Yeah.
So go ahead. What comes up next?
Yeah, so then the next thing I'm often talking to all women about in midlife is getting adequate calcium and vitamin D. Okay. It's a big part of just our dietary intake, and as well as I live and I work in the Northeast. Most of us are not getting that daily sun exposure that we need because of where we are in the planet.
Yes.
So with calcium, oftentimes I'm doing a dedicated visit towards your nutritional needs. So it's called a nutrition analysis. So in it, we're really doing a snapshot, but it's a deep dive into what are you eating every day. We look at your total calcium intake and say, okay, you know what, you're getting that recommended amount for women 19 to 70. That recommended amount is 1,000 milligrams. But for those who are getting just below that, then we say, all right, why don't we add a daily calcium supplement to get you to where you need to maintain strong bones as you age?
I want to give feedback on that. A lot of people don't think of teeth as part of our bone health.
Yes.
So you also mentioned sunlight. So given I am Filipino and I grew up in the tropics, ironically, I found out from my dentist that bone loss is still quite prominent among, well, she specifically said Filipinos. But my point is, I would also encourage people to look at their parents for their, that's the whole point of family history. It doesn't necessarily have to be present. Sometimes your family is prone to specific risks, such as bone loss. And so I'm just making that more whole. Part of our bone health is our teeth. So
yes, absolutely.
Yes, and continuing to enjoy life, aging, we need good teeth. So
yes, absolutely. And continuing to get those check-ins with your dentist every 6 months, it's so important to your overall health.
Yes. So. Okay. Continue. Anything else that comes to mind, repetitively, or predominant concepts that you kind of have to drill into your curriculum with folks?
So another thing that women often come to me for is to check their hormone levels. And one thing, it's a frequent conversation, is whether or not you need to have those hormone levels checked. if you're having symptoms, if you're having hot flashes and your periods are irregular, we may not need to do a blood test because your symptoms are telling us what's going on. So it's one of those things that a lot of times we associate blood work with good care. Like if you're checking your labs, that means you care about me. But oftentimes that care is coming from the history. We're spending time.
I'm making all of these
together,
facial expressions and pointing to you. Yes, yes, and yes.
Yeah.
I have to say that I have come across, trying to speak anonymously, these executive checkups. And lay people, like, by the way, like for example, EKGs, there's no evidence that doing it twice, once a year. And the first person that's put this in front of me is my mom specifically. She wants to be responsible, conscientious, and she wants to get the best care. I'm telling her, like, this is what just really matters. I don't want to go off tangent, but I've educated her on like these basic labs and understanding them. I also have just now exchanging trade secrets. I actually put a lot of time in having people understand their labs. There's a practice sometimes to pass this on to junior members of the team. And I've experienced this. I get a call and says, all your labs are normal. And yes, fine, they're normal. I'm not dying.
Right.
But I wanted to have some meaning. So I do have to say that I got some looks in particular places why I have to see the person to interpret their labs, and also from patients because they're not used to that. They're expecting some type of letter that just says everything is fine, and that's like it's almost like a sign of the cross. Like like you have my blessing. I'll see you next year is what they're looking for, and that's not primary care.
Right.
Ta-da. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Maybe you can tie this up in a bow and speak to the woman having severe symptoms, excess weight, possibly depressed at home. I want you to speak to the camera or speak to me as if I was that woman and address me, give your personal love letter. What message do you want that person to walk away with today?
So what I want that person to know is that there is care available to you, that there is someone out there who can help you. So if you've been turned down for that care, if someone has told you that, no, sorry, they can't help you, keep looking. There's ways to find someone. So the ways that I recommend that someone find a practitioner is through the Menopause Society. So there's actually a list of Menopause Society Certified Practitioners on their website. So you can actually go and find someone who's done the additional training to be menopause certified.
I love that. Thank you so much. That is going to be so helpful to so many women. And I'm putting that out there that this episode falls into the right eyes and ears. That's been another episode of Mindful Me. Please check us out on YouTube and Instagram, the Needham channel. We will see you again soon.